What is up, everybody? Shonnydman here, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys are having yourselves a great week. We are back with another episode of Nerd Talk, and then this week we got a brand new guest as well. So, to get us kicked off and going, tell us who you are and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Miranda Kilpatrick. On Instagram, I'm MK Cosplay Nerd, and TikTok, I am Miranda K _ cosplays. I am a big fan of cosplaying and reading, so that's usually what I'm doing in my spare time. But my real job is ultimately retail work.
Oh, okay. How long you been doing that particular thing?
Retail?
Yeah.
Ooh, it's been about almost 10 years now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I started straight out of high school.
Oh, wow. What got you into that?
It was really just the closest thing near me. I started off working at my local Dollar General and stayed there for a few years, and then I kind of like worked my way up to other kinds of retail jobs. And now I work at a fabric store, which is perfect now that I do cosplay. Got to get that fabric for a discount.
Yeah.
I
uh,
enjoy it though. I don't mind retail.
okay. Yeah. Have I worked in retail? Well, no, I haven't worked in retail, but I worked at a Cracker Barrel that had like a little retail attached to it.
Oh yeah.
But no, other than that, it's pretty much been fast food. I don't think I've done any retail.
Oh, see, I avoided fast food. I refuse to do anything with food whatsoever. I'm like, nope. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Let's see. I worked at a Cracker Barrel for about a year. Then I was a manager at a Chick-fil-A for about 6 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it was pretty good. But after a
Nice.
while, your fast food gets kind of
Oh yeah. Oh, see, I've switched it up a lot. Like I worked at Dollar General. Um, I went to Barnes and Noble for a couple years. I mean,
okay.
I also love to read, so that was a great fit. Now I'm at Joanne Fabrics. I'm one of the managers there. I also worked in social media marketing for a local bank for a while. I actually did the Disney College program for a semester, so I worked at Disney World for about
Ooh.
4 or 5 months. But again, it was all retail.
Yeah, I had when I worked at Chick-fil-A, I had a friend. She worked at Disney. I think she worked in Woody's. I forget what it's called. Woody's something.
Like Woody's Lunchbox or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
I think that's where
Mhm.
she worked during most of the summer. So she liked it.
Nice. Oh
So
yeah. I really enjoyed it. I was in Agrabah and Adventureland, so I was in the shops right next to Aladdin and Jasmine's meet and greet, and then the Pirates of the Caribbean gift shop.
ooh, hey,
It
what
was a
was
lot of fun. Eventually, I want to go back.
the what was the best part about working at doing that kind of job?
Honestly, it was different every time because I was in merchandise. I was able to pick up at other locations, so I could easily give away my shifts and then pick up in like Animal Kingdom or Epcot. So I got to work in all four parks and Disney Springs at least once. But like
Okay.
the guests are always different. Like you get to actually play on the job. Like you can pick up a wooden sword and like sword fight with the kids, and I loved that.
um, what was kind of like what was the most frustrating thing about doing a job like that?
Honestly, the lines.
Mm.
It was just so crowded because one of my jobs was working a movable cart. So like those random carts you see throughout that have like water or the Mickey head ear bands and things like that. And you basically just have like $200+ cash in an apron. You'll have like seven adults all come up to your cart at once
Oh,
with kids taking things off and then putting them back and then putting them in the wrong spot. And then you have three adults handing you $20, $50 bills, and you're trying to make change. And that was the most frustrating, stressful part, honestly.
oh, sounds like a very fun time. Like, what were the hours like? Or like, I guess, what are the hours or like how many days did you typically work?
I worked 5 or 6 days a week, and my shifts included anything from like 4 hours shifts up to like 6 to 7 on
Okay.
average. So they weren't terrible. A couple times you would get like 8 hour shifts, but again, you could pick up if you wanted another shift. So there was a couple days that I worked a double, but I mean they're pretty flexible,
Okay.
at least in the merchandise aspect. I know people who worked in the fast food part, like the quick service, they would have like 8, 10, 12 hour shifts.
Was the food good?
Certain ones. I'm a picky eater, to be
Oh,
fair.
okay. Okay.
But yeah, so the places that I ate at, they were delicious, just very expensive.
Oh yeah, I've never been to. I've never been to like Disney World or Disneyland, so that is I honestly wouldn't know anything about that. I do follow some content creators who typically go. They're primarily go to Disneyland.
Mm.
And then I had somebody who I worked with. She she kind of like did. She was. I don't think she worked for Disney, but she was kind of like that person that like, hey, if your family wants to go to Disney, let me know and I can arrange everything. Get
Okay,
you
like a
price.
vacation planner.
Yeah, yeah. So she kind
Mhm.
of did that a good bit with Disney. So she liked it. So, but like the amount of money I see people spend for that kind of stuff, I'm just kind of like,
Oh yeah.
I don't think I'm interested in so.
Understandable. I mean, if you could talk to her or you could talk to me, like the best times to go where it's a little bit cheaper, less crowded, so you get more for your buck. Like that's usually when I go now. I go in the off season. It's a little bit cheaper. And then you go with like 4 friends and it helps split the cost. It's great.
I know. Was Disney World the that had the like the Star Wars hotel kind of thing?
Yes, I think it was World. Was it? I think it was World.
I'm
Yeah, that
thinking
didn't last very long. It was way too expensive
it
and nobody
right.
could go. So
That, right. I remember like when they were talking about it. It looked cool and everything. Then people
oh
it came
yeah.
out people like showing and reviewing it, and I was just like, for that, no, like it's pretty basic for for the amount of money that you're having to spend on that kind of thing. It's a little
Oh
basic,
yeah.
so it's not really all that interested in staying
I mean, I
there.
really
So
wanted to do it, but I was like, let's wait a little bit. Maybe prices will go down.
yeah.
Nope, they just got rid of it completely.
Yes, and so I was like, yeah, I don't think so. And then so people were just kind of, and then they shut it down, didn't they?
Mhm. Yep.
That was just, that's like, oh my I don't know. Maybe one day I'll go. Maybe it's kind of like a check off the bucket list kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so,
I
I
highly recommend it at least once, and then you can be a one and done.
yeah. Uh, and so, switching over to doing cosplays. How long have you been doing that?
It's been about 5, maybe 6 years now. I'm still relatively new to it. I didn't start until
Oh,
the beginning
okay.
of 2018. So it was I just kind of got thrown into it in all honesty.
Okay.
One of my best friends we met in college, so like 2016, 17, something like that. And invited me to go to a local convention that she was going to. And she was dressing up as Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. I was like, "Oh, well, I love How to Train Your Dragon. Like, what do I do? What is this convention thing?" She's like, "Well, you just like dress up as cosplay characters and like any character you want from like animes and manga versus TV shows or cartoons." It's like, well, if you're going as Toothless, I'll go as Astrid. So then I rush build my very first Astrid in like a month to attend this this cosplay convention. And I mean, I had so much fun, and then I've never looked back since.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So tell us about a lot of the cosplays you've done. You've done Astrid. What are some other
hmm
ones that you've done?
So I've done mostly cartoons and TV shows. I don't do a lot of anime, which is interesting because that's like what the whole community is like. I attend the anime conventions, so I don't do a lot of anime. I have KDA Ari started. I haven't finished her yet. But I have a couple like Scroll Girl outfits from like my Dress Up Darling and Shugo Chara Amu, but then I mostly do Astrid. I've done Ruby Roundhouse from the newer Jumanji
Oh
movies.
yeah, yeah.
I do a lot of book cosplays now because I enjoy reading. So I've done like Isabel Lightwood from Mortal Instruments. I have all of the Archeron sisters from A Court of Thorns and Roses. I've done. I want to do Ju Duarte from Cruel Prince. I have a Barbie cosplay. I did another anime one is Rising of the Shield Hero. I've done Raftalia. She's a cute little like fox girl. And then my most recent one is Wei Ying from the Chinese live action drama Untamed, based off of the books The Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. That's my most recent cosplay.
Okay, okay. What? So, out of all the cosplays that you've done so far, which one has been like the easiest to make, and which one's been the most challenging to make?
Honestly, I would say Astrid was probably the easiest
Okay,
because I just kind of got thrown into that one. So I didn't really know what I was doing. So my friend helped me with it, but she made it really simple. And honestly, her costume's not that difficult.
right.
I mean, it's really just like jeans, a red shirt. There's like some of the shoulder armor was a little more difficult, but even the hood, I just laid out my coat hood and I patterned it from that. Like it was really easy. The most recent one I would say is probably the most difficult one because it's a Chinese retelling or a Chinese base fantasy show. So you have all of those layers for a hanfu. So you have like your pants, and then you have your skirt, and then you have your top shirt, and then you have like 2 to 3 robes on top, and those outer robes have all these exquisite details and leather strappings and vinyls, and then there's like the arm bracers, so I had to do foam wrapped in leather and then add studs to it. Like that was the most difficult, time-consuming cosplay I've had.
Okay, interesting, interesting. So, tell us. So, obviously, you're a big avid like book enthusiastic person. What are some books that you've read that? Well, okay, let me rephrase it this way. If you could only keep
Oh no.
3 books, like and you could not read any other book in the world, you can only keep 3, and those are the books
Oh
you have. You can
no.
yeah. So which well, what
Okay,
3
so
would you keep?
I don't like standalones, so I tend to have a lot of series. So picking an individual book is really hard.
Oh, I bet.
Um, I would probably say the second book in A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. She would definitely be one of them. Probably the first book in Mortal Instruments,
Okay.
City of Bones, I believe is the first one. And hmm, I'd say an indie author, Luna Laurier, her Shadow and Moon series, the first book of hers. I really enjoyed that one. So those 3. But still, that's really hard to pick from when I have like 300 books in my house.
Oh, I bet it's for sure 300. Yeah, that's a lot of books.
I started counting how many books I have because I want to do better at like keeping track of which ones I've read when I finished it and doing a review. And I think last year I got to like 86 books that I read last year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I listen to a lot of audiobooks though too because I drive to work. My drive to work is about 30 minutes. So that right there is an
Oh, okay.
hour of an audiobook. So I
Right.
finish audiobooks super fast. And then I sit at home and I read. Or I listen to audiobooks while I'm cosplaying, like when I'm sewing.
Okay. Okay. Um. Okay. Let me see. So how? So Mortal. What you said? Immortal Instruments. Did I say that right?
Mortal Instruments,
Mortal.
yes. That one by Cassandra Clare.
What wasn't that made into a movie?
Yep. So it was the movie Mortal Instruments, and then they had a freeform TV series called Shadowhunters
Okay.
that ran for like 4, 5 seasons, something like that, before they got canceled. Yeah.
What? So was it kind of like faithful to the book? Because I obviously when you do movies or shows that are based off books, things like that, there's a
Mhm.
tendency to obviously you have the source material, but at times you still have to kind of have creative, flexibility. So was it faithful for the most part?
I would say the movie was faithful, pretty close from what I remember. I didn't like the movie though. Like they changed a lot of details that I was like, why though? Kind of like with Percy Jackson movies, like they aged everybody up and like they changed some of the smaller details, and you're just like, but why? But the series, I think, from what I remember, it's been a while since I've read the books. The first season was pretty close from what I remember. And then it was either like the second or third season they kind of moved away. Like the overall arcing story was the same, but those smaller missions and details that they had to the goals were different. But I mean
Okay.
personally I really liked the series.
Okay. Uh, yeah. Okay. Then let's say about because I haven't watched it, but Percy Jackson and the Olympians on Disney Plus. Now I watched the first two that came out years ago as a movie, the Lightning Thief
Okay.
and
Mhm. The Sea of Monsters.
yes, those two I watched. That was kind of like my first introduction into Percy Jackson. It wasn't really.
Okay.
I thought they were fun films, but I never read the books or know anything about it.
Mhm.
Now, now we have the Olympians. Was that same thing? Was it as faithful to the books? Because I believe the same person who wrote the books did the show.
He helped produce it, yeah,
Okay.
Rick Wordison, yeah. So I'll be honest, I haven't finished watching the Disney Plus series. I've only watched the first 2
Oh,
episodes,
okay.
so I still have like 4 more to get through. But from those first 2 episodes, they were pretty darn close to the books. Like I like that they have the correct age. Is a lot of the details that the movies skipped the series did have. There were some smaller details that I
Hmm.
didn't really like. Like maybe like the when Percy meets Annabeth for the first time, like in the books, Annabeth is helping him get like understand camp and giving him the tour and everything, whereas the show they had Luke do it. And the first time you meet Annabeth in the show is like she's hiding in the bathroom in the outhouse and is like, "Hmm, you're interesting. I want you for capture the flag." And he's like, "What are you doing? Like, are you gonna help me?" Like it kind of made her seem a little creepy in my point of view. But I mean, like the overall story, like so far in the first 2 episodes, they were pretty spot on. Like the first episode is like chapters 1 through 4 in the book, and then the second episode was chapters 4, 5 into like 8 or 9. So like they were doing pretty well with those first 2 episodes. So I imagine the rest of it's probably pretty good too.
Well, I mean, obviously you haven't watched the episodes, but like, what are some of the kind of negative things that you've heard or seen people talk about that you're interested to see yourself when you get around to finishing the series?
Honestly, I haven't really heard that many like negative
Okay.
things on the series. Everybody just kind of agrees that the movies don't exist. Like they were just bad. Like they don't exist. So like a lot of people were really happy with the series.
Interesting.
I mean, I
Okay.
could just be on the wrong side of social media though too.
Probably so, because I mean, it has different levels of just craziness.
Mhm.
Because I know, like for instance, currently I'm doing weekly reviews of Halo the series that's on Paramount Plus,
Mm.
and I I'm enjoying the show for what it is. Now, the people who have played the games, they've read the books. They're not too happy about the show, which is fine. That's fine. But
Mhm.
like, I've played some of the games, but I never read the books. And like I said, I'm enjoying it because I'm able to kind of like detach that and like just this is something different than the games and books, and so I'm okay with that. But it just seems like when it comes to shows or movies that are based off books or whatever, the people who are like avid about source material stuff they can be very vicious about it.
See, that's me. I am very like, you have source material. Why are you throwing it away? But I'm not big on like voicing that in social media presence because I don't want to get hate. I don't want. I'm
Oh
keeping my page very simple, like happy, mostly family friendly. Like I keep a lot of my own personal beliefs and thoughts and politics and everything off of my page, so I tend to
that's
stay
fair.
away from the conflicts. But internally, I'm screaming, "You had source material. What are you doing?"
Right, and so I mean that's just and like listen, and I always tell people like listen, you can like if you don't like the show or movie, give good reasons why. Just don't give like well they did it in the games, they did it in the books. That's not to me.
Mhm.
That's not a good conversation to have on why you don't like it.
Mhm.
Like what are simple examples that you can say yeah, I don't like this because they went this route. Is it a perfect show? No, it is not a perfect show. It has many flaws. The storytelling can be slow paced a lot of the
Mhm.
times, but there are some good character moments that I think highlight the show for what it is. And so it's such an interesting thing to watch online because, like, again,
Oh yeah.
Marvel's having this issue as well
Mhm.
because like a couple of weeks ago a video came out and it was like people who previously worked on Marvel projects came out and they're like, oh, I never read the comics or anything like that. I knew nothing about the character, and it's just kind of like, then how do you know anything about these characters then? And so it's
Yeah. Right. It's Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I want to pick the directors and the producers' minds. Like, what was the creative decision for this? Like, why did you feel like you could take that out? Or why did you feel like this wasn't important enough that you had to change this scenario to now it's this? Like, I just
right.
want to know why. Because if you say something on social media, people get very defensive and they're like, well, it's not that important to the story. Or they could easily change that directive by putting this in there instead. But I'm like, but why? Why did you want to make that decision? I want to know.
Probably a another good example is the new Avatar: The Last Airbender that's on
I have seen
Netflix.
all of that.
Okay, so I have not watched it. It's just at a certain point I may get around to it, but it's nothing that's on my. It's not up there as an importance of me to watch it at the moment. But I have seen people talk about certain changes that they've made to the characters and things like that, and kind of like I don't necessarily agree with that. And
Mhm.
so it's like so for instance, Sokka. One of the main things about Sokka was obviously in the show. Clearly, he was sexist. Clearly,
Mhm.
nobody's debating that. But that was part of a character growth for him because by the time
Exactly.
you get around to meeting the Kyoshi warriors, he gains a new level of respect for them and for who they are. Character growth, right there. That's
Yes.
not. I have seen the episode because I was watching some people that I follow do a review. They're kind of doing like a episode by episode review, so I guess technically I am watching it for
Okay.
somewhat. But watching that episode with the Kyoshi Warriors was kind of like it was very weird in the sense of I don't know if I agree with the direction of what they did with Sokka and Suki's encounter. Honestly,
I
Suki looked
100% agree.
yeah. Suki from what I saw of that episode, she looked like a creep most of the time, and it was just like why? Like I think there was a scene I saw where Stalker's just like washing up and things like that, and Suki's just like creepily outside.
Standing in the corner,
Yeah, it's just
watching
kind of
him.
like what are you doing? What is this? It's like why are you being so weird about stuff? And
That's kind of how I felt about Annabeth when she was watching Percy get drowned in the bathroom. I was like, creep? What are you? Why?
and then Aang, and so it's just kind of like what's interesting is it felt like they missed the point of his character because obviously they added backstory and we saw what happened to the Air Nation. Uh, to be honest, I mean, I guess I'm fine, but you probably could have just left that out. But it doesn't make sense because it felt like he didn't want the responsibility to be of being the Avatar, so that's why he ran away because they were going to take him away from Monk Gyatso, which causes him to get trapped in the iceberg. But in the show, he just leaves to clear his head, and then just happens to get stuck in the storm. But it's just kind of like the main thing about Aang for the majority of the earlier seasons of the first season of Avatar: The Last Airbender is that, or the cartoon is that he necessarily doesn't want the responsibility of being the Avatar. But in the Netflix series, he's like, I'm the Avatar. I gotta do this. I gotta.
He's more serious.
Yeah, it's just kind of like you're taking a 12-year-old who's typically not really responsible as a 12-year-old and just automatically giving him the responsibility to save the world. And like, what are we doing here, people?
Yeah, I would say I agree. It's not that I didn't like the actors or the acting. Like, it has nothing to do with them. It's all about the script, essentially. Like, who made these creative decisions? Like, why are the characters talking like this? Why are they saying this? Where's their personality? Like, that's just gone now. Because Avatar is one of my comfort shows. Like, I will just have it playing in the background. So just random episodes here and there. So, like, I was really excited for this because I was like, they're actually going to do better because the first movie, again, does not exist.
Right. We don't talk about that. Nobody talks about it.
It does not exist. I saw it one time and I was like, never again. Remove from brain. But yeah, I agree with those. Like, Sokka doesn't have any growing moments anymore. He, like, in the cartoon, he's still kind of goofy. He's childish because he's not really old enough to be taking care of the tribe. So he still has that, that pre-puberty goofiness around him. He's sexist. And they just, like, got rid of that. They made him way more mature, like, way more responsible. It seems like he was the one kind of leading Katara around, whereas Katara is supposed to be more of the motherly, like, responsible one. And to me, even in the series, it seemed like her character was a little more laid back. She was kind of shy, unsure of herself. And I'm like, where's this motherly figure that they were going to be joking around for the rest of the series? Guess they're not anymore. Yeah, and then Aang, he's so serious now about being the Avatar. I mean, good for you, but can we go ride some koi fish?
Because Katara, like, again, they kind of like removed that motherly aspect, and I was just kind of like, I don't see the point because especially when Toph comes around, Katara is still that motherly aspect. It's especially in those episodes that revolve around those two. I will say I did like some of the sibling relationship that they did with Katara and Sokka. I thought that was pretty good. I don't necessarily agree with the Cave of Two Lovers aspect of it.
Yeah.
I was
supposed to be like book 2. Why is it in the first season? And why is it with her brother?
I was just kind of like, that's a little. I don't agree with that. I understand what they were doing, but no.
Because, again, I want to know why. Like, can I pick your brain?
Exactly. It's like, because this is supposed to be one of the more intimate scenes for Aang and Katara. Steps to building them to a future relationship. That's kind of not there now, and so it's interesting. I like
that's another thing too. Is Katara and Aang's relationship currently?
Oh yeah.
It's more of like just a friendship, but Katara's almost using Aang to
Yeah.
further her water bending. I mean, maybe I'll have to watch the cartoon again, but I don't remember her really being like that. I thought she was very more genuine. Like, we need to help the Avatar. We need to
Yeah.
help him. Like, she's supposed to be helping train Aang in water bending at starting off, and like none of that's happened. She's just
Right.
a fantastic waterbender. She just has this natural talent. We're like, I'm pretty sure she struggled
Yeah.
in the cartoon.
But I mean, but there are some aspects of the show that they did pretty good. Like Jet looks
Oh, I love
just
Jet.
like his cartoon version.
Mm-hmm.
I thought some of the CGI for the animals and the
Oh,
spirits
yes.
were really good. And
CG is
so
on point.
I'm not mad about that. Something interesting that I remember. I know it doesn't exist, but with the other live action one, when I first watched it, I didn't notice certain aspects of it because I was just watching it. But going back and rewatching it, there was a moment where so at the beginning they're in like the South Pole, and obviously the actor and actress for Sokka and Katara are white.
Mm-hmm.
What I did not notice was they are the only two white people in this village. The rest are, I believe, Alaskan based.
I don't remember that at all.
It's
I will have
such
to watch it again.
a just go look up that particular part, and you're gonna like notice something's not right here. I think them and the grandmother are like the only white people, but the rest of the supporting, or at least the background characters, are Alaskan based, and their
Okay.
skin tone does not match them, and it is just kind of like, what even is this? What is going on here?
I mean, yeah, that's fair. I do remember that the casting, like nationality wise, was very off.
Yeah, like it very much insulting, honestly, from that standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was just kind of like I don't agree with this. This is just a little
Yeah.
sketchy, but
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah, I'm sorry. I see it now. Just for like pictures and everything.
yeah, and so it's just kind of like I don't know what you're doing here, buddy. So this
It's almost like it was a fan cast, like an indie
yeah
film.
yeah
Like somebody, these are the only people that auditioned, so this is what we got.
yeah, definitely so. But yeah, and so it's now again, obviously there's a lot more you can do with an animated series than a live
Mm-hmm.
action series. There's a lot more wacky things that you can do in this show. But just from what I've seen so far,
I mean,
it's fine.
oh yeah, I mean, especially because they were still able to have Aang fly on his little like flight staff. Like
Yeah.
he was still able to do like the ball of air underneath him and him like riding around on it. Like Appa flies and he doesn't look creepy. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with the CGI and everything so far. I really like the costumes too. I know
Yeah.
people are saying they're cosplaying, like, but
It's fine.
it's close to the source
Yeah.
material, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's fine. It does look very cosplay and a little off, but it's fine. I don't think I have a big issue. I do have an
Yeah.
issue. I actually just watched the people I follow. They just did a review, and it was the episode that had Wong Shi Tong, and I was just like, why is he here? Like, what? This is way too early for this guy to be here. I get
Mhm.
they're in the spirit. I think they're in the spirit world, and but like regardless of that,
Mhm.
this is way too early for him to be here for this first season. So it's just kind of like,
Yeah.
uh,
I'm curious to see how they'll go the rest of it
oh
because
yeah,
yeah, they're kind of jumping timelines a
yeah.
little bit.
Um, but I did not like the characterization of Boomy.
Oh yeah, no, Boomy was weird.
That was
I Again, though,
he
it was
looked like him.
script issues. Like, why?
Yeah,
Like,
it's just oh my gosh, it was just wild. I'm trying to think of what other shows. See,
that have been books to movies.
yeah,
There's the Divergent series. Their Hunger
uh,
Games.
Divergent. That
Divergent was very different.
yes, I never read the books. I only saw the only reason I watched the movies is because of Shailene Woodley, who
Okay.
it's because I watched her when they were doing that show, The Secret Life of an American Teenager. That used
Oh, okay.
so that's how I ended up watching it. But there were some other like Miles Teller's in it as well. Some other people I knew. I was like, okay, this is interesting. But like I think the first two came out in theaters, and then I think they did so poorly. The third one was just going to be a direct to TV release, but I don't think they ever released it.
Oh, I don't remember. I just know that the first book was like pretty spot on with the book. The first movie was.
Okay.
Then the second one, it went downhill. Like they had to spend this entire time opening this box. The box does not exist in the books. I don't know what this whole overarching goal is, but it's not in the books. And then the third movie, nothing like the books whatsoever. They went a totally different path. You're just like, okay. And I mean, they're good movies if you haven't read the books.
Yeah.
So.
The Hunger Games. I am. I am okay. I haven't seen the newest one. Honestly, to be honest, I've only watched like the first two of the Hunger Games.
The second
Uh,
was the best anyway. You could stop there.
so like I was fine with Jennifer Lawrence. I have mixed feelings about her now with some because like she played Mystique in newer X-Men movies, and I wasn't a big fan of the characterization
Oh.
and job she did there. But for Hunger Games, it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
I was okay with it. So there's that. There's Twilight.
Oh
Which
yeah, Twilight. Yep.
I only watched the first one. I haven't watched any others. So,
Honestly, the movies make Bella way more whiny than she is in the
oh,
books.
really?
So, yes. She's not as whiny in the books as the movies make her out to be.
Oh, okay, okay. I
But
think,
I do like all those series too, so.
and then there was uh something Scorch Trials.
Oh, the Maze Runner.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
Mhm.
okay. I watched those. I thought they were
Yeah.
pretty good to watch.
Again, the first book is pretty spot on. The other ones they sidetracked like Divergent.
There's such like a huge theme about that. It's like the first one's good, and then for
Because they
some
have to get you
reason,
hooked. And then they change direction on you and you're like, "What?"
um, Wheel of Time. I think that was a show, and I saw a lot of people not happy.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people not happy with that. Oh, The Witcher. Um,
Mm.
that one has its own big controversy because, like, I think Henry Cavill read the books, but I don't know. It was just
Mm. Yeah, I haven't read the books or seen The Witcher, but those videos do pop up on my TikTok feed. I'm like, I'm here for the tea. Give me the gossip.
because I think they changed it now because Henry Cavill is no longer playing Geralt. I think it's Liam
It's
Hemsworth.
somebody else. Oh, I think you're right. I think I did hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like, eh,
Interesting.
I'm not interested in that. I was only interested because of Henry Cavill. Now I don't care as much about the show.
Yep. Now it's Gale from Hunger Games is gonna play Witcher.
Oh God, yeah, yeah. I'm not. Yeah, we're done. We're done. That's it. You had your opportunity. You missed it, and I'm out. I'm out. Oh man, what a
I mean,
Harry
there's a
Potter.
lot.
Oh
Oh,
man.
yep. There's Harry Potter. Technically, I think the Vampire Academy was books, and then they made it into a TV
Oh,
series.
okay.
I'm trying to think of what other ones there are. There's so many.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember
I mean,
like,
technically, Star Wars are
oh
books
yeah, that's
too.
true. That's true. I remember going to Dragon Con last year, and I really didn't want to buy a book, but it was like one of those situations like, all right, I'm just gonna buy the book so you can just leave me alone. And so I bought some book. It was by L. Ron Hubbard, I think it's who it was. But I was just kind of like, I don't really want this. But, so now it just sits here. And so
You'll have
yeah,
to try it.
I'm not gonna read a book I had no interest in buying in the first place. I only bought it just so this person can just leave me alone.
I
And
mean, that's fair. Sell it
so
on eBay. Just looking to get my money back. Never read.
yeah, so
$10.
um, but yeah, so switching back to your cosplaying, what cons have you been to?
Usually it's just local. So I'm in Illinois. So any that's in Peoria or Chicago, I've been to. In the last year or so, I've been branching out. Um, so I just went to IkiCon in Texas in January. For my first time. I went to KatsuCon in Maryland for the first time in February. A holiday matsuri in Orlando, Florida is one of my favorites, but they're changing locations this year, so we'll see if it's still one of my favorites. But then, of course, there's like Anime Central, Anime Midwest, up in Chicago. Um, I've been to Anime St. Louis a couple
Okay,
times. I've been to the Kansas City Comic Con once. So, like, very Midwest, and
right.
then I've started branching out to Texas and Florida.
I was in Illinois a couple of years ago. I had a friend who lives in Jacksonville, Illinois,
Okay.
and I went to just go see her for a week, and it was pretty cool. I got to try. I went to go see the Lincoln Memorial.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty fun and pretty cool to check
Mhm.
out. What are some cons that you hopefully want to try to go to in the future?
So I hope to go to Cosplay America in I think it's South Carolina this
Okay.
year. I heard that they have a lot of workshop. There's workshop based con,
Okay.
so you can actually learn how to do special sewing techniques, or if you want to do LED lighting or 3D modeling and things like
Oh.
that. And I want to expand my knowledge on those things. So I plan on spending all of my money on these workshops. I think that one's in June.
Okay.
Um, Not this year, but next year I hope to attend Anime Expo in California. My friend and I want to enter the preliminaries for the World Cosplay Summit contest. So whoever's the winner for that actually gets to travel to Japan for like the World Olympics of cosplay contests. So that's our goal in the next few
Oh.
years. As of right now, I think that's really the only new cons that I can think of that I've been interested in. There's a book convention next
Oh.
year in Pennsylvania, so I will be attending that one. Um,
What are those
but
like?
I don't know. I've never been to
Oh.
one. This is the first book con that I've heard of, and I was like, "All right, sold. I'm ready to. I want to do this."
That's
But I guess
interesting.
it's essentially the same thing as like a cosplay convention, except it's a lot of the cosplays are based off of book characters,
Hmm.
but they also have a lot of attending authors, the larger authors as well as indie authors. They might have some like writing classes and things like that on how to further your writing career, social media, marketing, stuff like that. But I'm excited for that. But cosplay conventions right now, that's all I can really think of. Eventually, I want to try out other ones in other states,
Okay.
but retail limits my day off availability, so I tend
Right.
to stay in Illinois.
Right. um. Who's your favorite author? Who are your top three favorite authors?
Sarah J. Maas, Luna Laurier. Probably Holly Black. I really don't know. I read a lot of advanced readers copies, so I
Okay.
read the books before they actually come out to help
Oh.
promote for the authors and get them ratings before they come out. So like I read a lot of different authors that I really love, and they're still writing books, so they only have like 1, 2, maybe 3 books out right now. But there's quite a few that I really love, and I'm looking forward to the next book. But it's hard to say favorites because again, I
Okay.
read so much.
Yeah.
Like I just finished rereading all of the Percy Jackson series,
Oh
so
my
I mean,
God.
like if you go by how many books I've read on authors, I would say Rick Riordanson's pretty high up there. Cassandra Clare's pretty high up there. Sarah J. Maas, Holly Black's up there. Um, Susan Collins is high up there. Like those pretty bigger named. I read
Okay.
all of the Bridgerton books. So that's Julia Quinn. Yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. It's books are too hard. Cosplay's easier.
Right, right.
Pick favorites and such.
Did you ever think about becoming a writer?
Oh hell no. I can help proofread and give you questions and ideas to expand a story, but I cannot write to save my life.
Okay.
A story wise. Like I can do a book report. Like I can write research papers. But if you tell me to write a story, it sounds like it's for a 5-year-old.
But that's, I
I
mean,
don't know what it is. I just can't. I can think up cool things. Like I would love to do like fan films, like cast stuff,
okay.
because I can think of things like that. But when it comes to writing the actual dialogue, I'm terrible at.
What's a book? All right. So if you were in charge of this, so if you could pick a book that you would want to be made either into a TV show or a movie, which book is it? And do you have a fan casting for the lead roles?
Oh, not really. I haven't really thought about the whole fan casting
I'm bad at
thing.
it, so that's
Yeah, I'm not very good at that, honestly. I mean, I have a handful of books that I would like to be a show or like a cartoon or something. I mean, because the cartoons would always be easier if it's
yeah.
fantasy related, but I would say probably the Of Court and Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I mean, I know that I think Hulu has rights for it, so like eventually they might make it
Oh,
into a
okay.
show, but they've had the rights for
A while.
like 5+ years.
Okay.
So like we never really know if it's actually happening, but like nobody can ever agree on a fan cast. So that it's like, well, you might as well just make it into a cartoon because then you know everything would be correct, correct kind of thing. But I don't know.
Okay. Um.
I just have a lot of ideas and then
Yeah.
they just sit up here.
Yeah. Um. What's a movie or show that you're looking forward to this year,
This year.
or that's already out? I'm not thinking of what you watch.
I honestly don't watch a lot of shows.
Okay.
So unless it's one of the books turned into movies, there's not a lot that I'm really interested in. Um, I mean, I just saw Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is the newest Hunger Games
Right.
movie based off of Cornelius Snow. Before that was the Mario Brothers movie.
Oh,
So that gives you an instant of what my tastes are like.
that movie was interesting. I enjoyed the movie, but like,
It was hilarious. I
yeah,
loved it.
I think I don't have many criticisms of the movie except for like when I first watched it. I think they fixed it, but when I first watched it, Princess Peach's head was just oddly shaped, and so she looked pretty
Oh.
weird. They fixed it now, so you probably wouldn't notice
Mhm.
it at this point. And then Jack Black as Bowser, perfect,
Mhm. Oh, that was hilarious. That was the best part.
best thing about the movie. Charlie Day as Luigi. Perfect. Makes sense.
I was a little skeptical at first when they decided not to cast Italian voice artists.
Yeah.
But when they explained like why they're not really true Italians and such, I'm like, all right, I can get past this.
Yeah.
I can understand this.
Yeah. As long as it makes sense, and as long as you're already like out in front of it, but like this is why we're not doing this. I'm like, okay, I won't be mad about it. But like, if you try to pull what what Sonic the Hedgehog tried to pull,
oh my,
and then definitely I'll be angry about it because
oh yeah,
it made no sense.
That was a whole mess.
And now look at it now. It's for the better.
Exactly.
You're about to have your third movie come out this year, actually. So yeah, I'm excited, and so it's just kind of like, why even? What are you doing? Like, I made no sense when they first did the trailer and introduced whatever that thing was. It's just like, but people.
That's what little kids give them nightmares.
Yeah.
That old Sonic.
Yeah, and everybody just straight up bullied them, like, stop it, change it, and then they changed it. Better. And so, it was just so wild. I'm telling you, I just can't believe they tried to pull that kind of stuff.
Right? I'm like, you have so much opportunity at your fingertips. Like, that's what you decided to go with? Again, I want to know why. What was this creative decision?
Like, they try to be like too real with this movie, and it just it just backfired. It was backfired. But yeah. Oh man. It's just I can't believe it. I don't think what other like crazy junk they I mean video games are kind of like video game adaptations are like books too. Like you either do it right or it just looks bad. So
yeah. I'll be honest, I don't play a lot of video games, and if I do, it's usually the older stuff. So like Mario, Donkey Kong.
Okay.
I have a Super Nintendo, so I'm like playing the pixelated Legend of Zelda. I mean, like now even that I have a Switch, it's literally very specific to Mario and Legend of Zelda type games.
Yeah. So I never played Zelda, so.
Oh, I love them. I love story-based games.
Okay.
So if you have a full story and I have a quest that I need to go on, I really enjoy that.
Okay. Interesting.
And then like Animal Crossing.
Oh,
your de-stressor.
Everybody loves Animal Crossing, so it's just that's nothing new.
My island. I have a nice little garden.
I think my friend Phelan was like very much into Animal Crossing, and I was just kind of like, it's all right. But yeah, it's just
like I said, if you need to de-stress and just sit there calm, it's a perfect game.
Yeah, definitely so. So. Well, all right, guys, that is where we will end this week's episode of Nerd Talk. As per usual, up on screen now are all the ways you can follow and support. But for those who are listening on podcast, how can they follow and support?
You can follow me on Instagram. I'm mostly active on there right now at MK Cosplay Nerd. My profile picture is of Astrid. You can't miss me. Or if you have TikTok, who knows where this TikTok band is going.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Till then, you can find me on TikTok also with all my cosplays. Miranda K _cosplays. And if you want to follow books, I do have a book Instagram as well, mirandak.library. So a lot of different options.
Okay. And then as per usual, you guys be sure to check out the channel here as well. Plenty of content going on. Also, but yeah, other than that, guys, thank you for stopping by and listening and or watching. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button, comment below. But other than that, we will see you guys in the next video. See ya.
Bye.